Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see by the exceptionally poor quality, it's another show! We're back. Do you know what, Ryan?
What's that, mate?
You're clear as a bell. Your screen, let me tell you now. For those of you picking this up for the first time, I'm now 2 weeks into this YouTube channel, right? And I have no idea what I'm doing. It's quite funny because Ryan is like the YouTube hero of arm wrestling. He's like the godfather of arm wrestling on YouTube. And that's a fact, mate. I mean, you've achieved so much with it. I'm like, the Muppet of the YouTube world. I'm learning very much as I go, completely out of my comfort zone. So it's nice to have you on for a start, because I'm gonna say straight out, this is one of my favourite peeps. Ryan's a good lad. We have a laugh. We've already been talking. How long have we been talking before we got on here, mate? I got a good 30 minutes.
We've had a chat, and Neil, you're a good man. The timestamp on this conversation is at a pretty big moment for me in my life. And Neil, you've just helped considerably in my life before this, mate. So thank you for that. Instrumental. But mate, it's funny you mentioned your battles with YouTube, production and getting videos to record properly and getting quality at a decent level. It's funny stuff, man. But you've entered pretty highly. I mean, you called me the godfather of YouTube. You're the godfather. You're the voice of arm wrestling, realistically. Have been for a long time. I think this show, to be honest, mate, it's what the arm wrestling world really needed. I think that your knowledge of the last 30 years of arm wrestling and your ability to, I love listening to you talk with John Brzenk, and you literally, for instance, refer to a match that happened in a back alley somewhere, and I'm like, Jesus, Neil, the fact that Neil knows so much about the history of this sport, combined with the fact that you're mates with all these guys, it's exactly what the YouTube world needs. So I appreciate the fact you're doing it, man, and it's awesome. But yeah, good luck with the production value. It's an uphill battle.
Oh my God! I mean, you've become quite skilled at editing. When I did the Arm Wars Super Series, okay. For those of you that are new to this and haven't a clue, I'm just some random fatty talking. I started the Arm Wars Super Series, so that was a professionally edited quality program. And I had editors working on it. I am not that guy. Now, what we're doing now is it's me basically just doing my own thing here. And oh my God, talk about having some demons, mate. I'm going to let you into a little secret. I've got 3 shows on here with the Stockman Brothers. Are you familiar with the Stockman Brothers? For those of you out there, Stockman Brothers. Absolutely the most diamond lads of all time, the Stolts, right? Tom and Luke Stoltman. Luke Stoltman, one of my favourite strongmen of all time. He's just a great guy. His little big brother, Tom, absolute giant, the next super freak of strength, breaking world records all over the place. I get him on the show the other day. They're from Invergordon, okay, in the Highlands of Scotland. They've only had the wheel for like a couple of months. This is middle of nowhere, and we're trying to sort out this. I said to them, look, guys, you got good Wi-Fi connection? Well, not really, but we're muddling through. So we show up. I get them on here. Not like you. They're not clear. The Stolt boys they ain't got the camera set right. And it's not like I have a goddamn clue what I'm doing. So I can't say to them, do this. We try to muddle it round. Now, bearing in mind, both these guys are like as big as a barn. They're both massive dudes.
They're trying to fit the screen.
Oh my God. So I get them so that on my screen, they're both in. Okay. We do like 2 hours with them.
Yeah.
Conversations like this, it's flowing. They're just bouncing off. We had such a good time. Great shows. I record it down. I come to look at the footage. Luke's like out of this side of the screen. Just you can like see half his face. It's like this air of mystery. And then you can see Tom's shoulder here. Like, know. And I'm like, honestly, I felt like going outside and shutting my dog in the car door to take the pain away. Oh my God.
I think the worst for me when I was building my YouTube channel, the worst moment for me in any sort of podcast interview, I was so grateful for Michael Todd. We literally did the interview 3 times.
Clipperboard.
The first time the audio didn't record. The second time the video and the audio was shit again. And I thought, oh my God, I can't ask Michael to do this again. But he did. This is super early. So my YouTube channel was nothing. It was very little benefit for him to do that. So Michael, you're a good man. Thank you.
The stuff I've let, but you know, I mean, like as we sit here now, this is the other thing. You know, I'm working through the day, so it's now like 9:45 at night. This is when do I do these? I do them like late at night. You know, my kids have gone to bed. It gets like 9:30 at night, and I'm asked I do these. So it's quite chill. It's quite relaxing for me to do this, especially when I'm on with guys like yourself, where we can just, you know, you just bounce off naturally. But I'm going to apologise right now, guys, for anybody out there who thinks that this is slightly technically flawed, because I am right there with you. And when I get it up to a decent amount of subscribers, and I can, you know, I will be the first mother fluffer to be hiring a Eddie Hall style editor. That is aspirational stuff. Tell everybody you know. Get subscribing, get viewing. If it goes up, I will improve the quality because I can't edit first.
You mentioned Eddie Hall's camera guy and the fact that production, like I look at where we're at right now. We got coronavirus killing every event, and I'm so grateful that I can lean back on a YouTube channel and keep the momentum building and keep something going for the sport, for myself, for my own business, and I love that is an opportunity for arm wrestlers, and we're a unique sport where we can do that. I always want to encourage literally every arm wrestler, no matter how awkward you feel, if this is something that is even slightly tempting, start doing it. And a lot of people say, "What the hell do you put out there for content when you don't have credibility?" And that was me. I was that for 4.5 years. First 4.5 years, my total revenue on YouTube was $34 in 4.5 years, and I promise you I put as many videos out as I did then. But arm wrestlers can just say, look, here's where I am now. I hope to someday get to here. I have no idea what I'm going to do in the meantime, but I'm going to bring you along for the ride. Do that, and you can have this career, and it can supplement and between all your other jobs, and it can ultimately turn into something pretty amazing. So,
you know, the funny thing is, for me, this is something I've wanted to do anyway. I'm not really looking at it from the sort of, I haven't monetized it, anything like that. I probably should. I don't even know whether I'm at the threshold. Maybe I'm not even at the threshold.
You've just cracked over the 1,000. Turn it on, Neil. Make some money.
Okay, I will look into doing that at some point. But at this point in time, that has not been done. I will look into doing that. No idea what I'm doing, but I will read up on it at some point. Pretty busy at the moment, but I'll get around to it at some stage. But what I really wanted to do this far is just to talk about arm wrestling and about strength sports and about strong people picking stuff up, putting it down, putting arms on pads. It's just, I'm into it. You know what I mean? So I enjoy doing that. And that's what this is really about. And it's funny, you talk about the YouTube thing, because if we look around now, every sporting event has been cancelled, postponed. Arm wrestling is probably like the worst thing you can think of. Close proximity, face to face, outside of professional sport, bonking. It's got to be like the most risky thing you can undertake. You know, you're gripped at hands, bad.
Those arm wrestling straps literally drenched in 45 other men's sweat.
Yeah,
wrapping around your arm, like wherever transmitting bloody diseases, that's where it's going to happen.
It's just a terrible thing to do, innit? I mean, you know, but it's also happens to be the greatest sport in the world, so you'll take these kind of risks. But what I would say is this: everybody complains about that, but you know what? When you think about this logically, one of the issues that I used to have back in my competitive career when I was hitting it hard, and I know a lot of the guys have. When do you ever go into an event without carrying injuries? Same with the strongmen. We're talking to the strongmen the other day. When I had the Stolt boys on, when I had Lawrence Charlie on the other day, when we was with Eddie in the gym the other week, always talking the same thing. You know, you never go into anything when you're not torn up, you're not carrying something, nursing something. This is a genuine situation where you can heal, you can iron out those creases, you know. And the other thing is that there's like a plethora of information on YouTube. You know, technical prowess can be brought on massively just by going and searching. The top exponents of the sport out there are putting videos out, putting instructionals out. Fabulous time to sort of sharpen your weaponry.
Well, I see that it's very evident in the new guys that turn up to the Brisbane Club. 4 years ago, when a new guy turned up to the Brisbane Club, he had no idea how to move. You had to start from the beginning. Now, when new people turn up to the club, they move like they've been pulling for a year already. They have just been watching and enjoying the sport, and they all say, "Oh yeah, I've been watching for 2-3 years on YouTube. Devon Larratt's my favorite arm wrestler, and I saw it on the Juji Mufu's channel, and then I looked up the Brisbane Club and came and found you guys." They all move so well, so it's very noticeable the impact that digital distribution of our sport has had on people's ability to arm wrestle. It's yeah, I think it's amazing. Good times.
And the other thing is, there's definitely a growing acceptance and a growing appreciation of the sport. There is no doubt about that. You know, when we go, it's funny when we do the Giants Live Arena tour. At the end, they have the meet and greets, and people come down onto the floor and they'll come up and talk to you. And the amount of people that come up and say, "Oh, I've been watching this, I've been watching that, I've been watching the old Arm War stuff, I've been watching World Armwrestling League, I've been watching Professional Armwrestling League." So many people are checking stuff out online now, you know, and that's absolutely great to see that people are taking the time and understanding the sport. They know the big names, they know the big pullers. I love it. I think that's just such a boost.
What I like most about it is that it's been a really big team effort globally. Sure, we've got our leaders, WAL, PAL, when it comes to leading the commercial spend on getting our sport out there. But the little guys and the cumulative weight of everyone putting content out and everyone sharing just their local tournament videos, it's making a big difference. Like I feel, you never know when a video is going to pop. I filmed a tournament in Alabama in 2018. That video is sitting at like 25 million views, and it's just a tournament in Alabama. It had Justin Bishop floating around in there, but just a video of local arm wrestling went to that degree. Wow. So yeah, amazing that a video can even do that this day. You know, it's crazy, and the impact that all of us doing that has on the sport is, like you said, global acceptance is at an all-time high for arm wrestling. When I tell people I'm an arm wrestler now, they're not as dumbfounded as they were a few years ago.
Yeah, they used to be like,
I've seen that
stuff. Are you serious? You know, you might as well told them you. Yeah, I mean, they used to look at you like, "Are you mad? You out of your mind?" Is that the classic thing? One, is that a thing? You know, it's like that move reaction. It's not even a thing. But now, like you say, I would be walking down the street, people be coming up to Devon Larratt, "Hey mate, how are you doing?" You know, that they've seen you, they're watching stuff. Absolutely fabulous time. I wanted to ask you something else, mate, as well. When you talk about people coming to the Brisbane Club, we had Todd Ziller on here the other day, and he was saying he loved the way when he was out in Australia that you guys have got like this real team, real family orientated thing. I mean, you've got to feel immense pride in that, mate, because you were right. You were the absolute torchbearer in that respect for getting Australia on the map in a big way.
I was the third member of the Brisbane Club. That wasn't a club then. It was just I was the third person interested in the sport within the state of Queensland and the city of Brisbane. And right from the beginning, we were steered a lot by Devon Larratt. He visited early on, and he gave us the foundation of how to build a club. And I remember Devon encouraged us in Brisbane. He said, pick a public space. We went out to a popular park in Brisbane and dragged a table out there and just arm wrestled. And eventually we got ourselves an A-frame sign and we created a Facebook page and said, if you're interested, check out Brisbane Heavy Hitters on Facebook. And people would stop and people would get interested for have a go for a moment and move on. But after about 3 to 4 years, we reached the critical mass where we no longer needed to recruit. We went into our own facility, and now we're sitting at like 50 or 60 members, and it's becoming a legit I personally feel like we're not on the caliber of those Kazakhstan clubs, but I personally feel like the pyramid structure and of progression in our club currently goes all the way from novice social level all the way up to we have at least 4 guys genuinely chasing world elite and not that far away from it in reality. And
as well as arm wrestler ever at any weight class at any time.
Yeah.
To put his arm on a table.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
It's
so there is no better place to be. Yeah. The ability to progress as an arm wrestler within the framework of the Brisbane Club is tremendous, and I know that all the other Australian clubs kind of hate me saying it, but it's very true. Every single international puller that's ever visited Australia, I get to the Brisbane Club and I go, oh wow, okay, you guys are strong, and it's because we have an amazing structure. And the Melbourne Club likes to think they're strong, but yeah.
Is there an amazing amount of rivalry in the club?
There is. Particularly, there's a lot of pride in all the clubs. There's particularly 5 good clubs in Australia: Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Perth are the biggest clubs, and they've all got
in Adelaide.
There is Gunter's Baikov's down there.
I've been to Adelaide so many times.
And no.
I wouldn't mind, but I mean, all I'm going to say is there must be a tremendous amount of lube and like tissues sold. I mean, never mind in Corona Christ. Adelaide, not a lot going on in Adelaide, let me tell you now. You could show 1950s films in Adelaide and people be flooded into it. There's not a lot going on in Adelaide, is there? Compared with Australia, you go to Sydney, you go to Melbourne, a lot going down in Australia. Adelaide,
Adelaide's a little quiet, little
quiet.
But the clubs are great. I think when the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation started, we had an opportunity to try to establish a really good blueprint and structure. And there's been an amazing group of volunteers that have led the charge in the Australian Arm Wrestling Federation, and the sense of community in the Australian Arm Wrestling is amazing. We're still very unified. We only have 1 nationals. We have grassroots, novice, and amateur tournaments. We have pro standard cards. Like when I put on a pro standard card, it's always in support of an Australian Arm Wrestling Federation amateur tournament. So I put it on as a main event to attract people to pull in the amateurs. And so we're still, as a nation, really unified. And we're now 8 or 9 years in. And the longer we stay unified and don't have splinters of federations and millions of nationals and all that sort of stuff, I feel the stronger the arm wrestling standard comes from this country. And I look at the Brisbane Club and I honestly see and dream, and I believe that we're going to have multiple world champions come out of Brisbane in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, mate, I lost you. I got no audio from you.
Going on here? Can you hear me now?
You're back. Yep.
There you go with that technical excellence again, guys. What I would say is, mate, I was just going to say you've got some top class pullers over there. I mean, outside of the Tesh. You also got yourself. You've got. I mean, talk to me about the Milkman as well, because I was going to go with Lachlan and Jordan, and they're the guys that are always on your shows and are out there doing stuff. But how good is the Milkman?
The Milkman is legit number one right arm arm wrestler in Australia. I do believe Lachlan is ready to take that title off him, but no, I can't take away from the credit and who Ryan Scott is. He is like an Andre Pushkar style arm wrestler, iron wrist and a hell of a lot of side pressure. He's a cannon, comes out of the blocks. He can be stopped if he gets his palm turned toward him. He's negated pretty quickly, but getting him to that position is a horrible task.
Yeah,
and when you ask Ryan Scott what's made him so good, it's just that he says he's never stopped. He's loved the sport for 8-9 years now, and he, as his name suggests, his background, he used to deliver milk. He used to pick up 4 crates of milk in each hand and deliver them hundreds of times a day. So he developed hand strength from his previous life, and arm wrestling is just the cream on top of it. So Ryan is...
That's a joke there, Ryan. I like that a lot.
I didn't even mean to do that.
An absolute quality. You thought his YouTube channel was good. How's that? Epic, mate. That was nice. Cream on top of the milk. Love it. Keep them coming. Let me get me pad. Just going to write these down.
So Lachlan and Ryan are actually going to face each other in a super match whenever this coronavirus allows us to travel again. These two got a little bit of a beef going at the moment, and it's a good one that I love, because the Arnold's Classic was meant to be on. Obviously, it was cancelled, but it was being cancelled in stages. And at first, there were just no internationals coming, but we were all still able to go. And Ryan Scott, the Milkman, made an announcement saying, I'm not going to go anymore because there's no one there up to standard to give me a worthy match. And Lachlan was like, hang on a second, you tell me I'm not worthy? So there's a beef between them at the moment, and they're gonna clash over 6 rounds sometime soon.
Oh, that's a pretty harsh thing when you say somebody's not worthy. You're setting yourself up for a fall. But you never know. Yeah. Maybe Ryan Scott knows something that you don't know. You know, he might be.
Well, that's true.
He might have been working with bigger milk bottles recently. You don't know, do you? Oh, you know, he could have been rocking about with churns now. Just, I got this. Yeah, not a problem. Yeah. But when you obviously, the thing that I was going to ask you there, you say that you got the one federation, you're very unified. It's a massive landmass, mate. I mean, Australia's big. I mean, how well attended is your nationals? Do you find that only like your absolute top exponents are going to rock up there? Do you get a small number of elite pullers, or is it a lot of people?
It's been a consistently growing average, but we have had up and down years. I expect this year's to be the biggest we've ever had. We have historically had in each weight category nationally a minimum of 10 to 15 guys that believe they can be the national champion. Yeah. Then there's another 10 to 15 guys in each weight category that are just there for the growth and the experience of having a crack. This year, I expect at least 30 per weight category, left and right, to travel. It is the big land mass. They said you can fly for 6.5 hours and you're still in Australia. So it's a big ask for a lot of people to travel. We have generally one state title, one national title, and then a oceanic event each year. So 7 or 8 events typically. The numbers are growing, and we're actually at a point right now, which is a really interesting thing. I don't know if the UK ever did this, or I haven't seen it in the US, but we've talked about it amongst the kind of senior guys in the club as to how to structure the grassroots best, so that we don't cap our ability. And what I'm referring to is when a new guy comes into the club and they go to a state tournament and get their ass handed to them by someone who's more experienced, a lot of people run the risk of being turned away because they just feel it's an impossible task to ever catch up. When I remember back to being a tennis player, you had Saturday morning comp within your club, and you had divisions based on your ability, not necessarily your age or weight or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I feel we have enough people in our Brisbane club, for instance. We've got 50 or 60 people that we could grade everyone in. They could have, this is predominantly for the social half of the club, the newer guys, that they could have their weekly super match. It doesn't matter, again, graded on ability, not weight.
Mm-hmm.
And they could taste the competition, taste the sense of victory, climb the ranks right there, as opposed to traveling to a state tournament, getting their ass handed to them by Jordan Davis and thinking, Jesus, I thought this skinny guy was going to be easy, and not understanding and then running away from the sport. So I've never seen the sport anywhere, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen the sport replicate grassroots like tennis or like rugby league or like any other sport that's out there. And I feel like if we did that as a sport, we'd grow even faster. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to moderate, mate. I mean, in the UK, we had the British Novice. So you started this, whole another chapter. So you've got your British Professional, which is the real British, and then you've got this British Novice. Now, the issue with that is, as it starts to develop, you find that there are people that will complain about, okay, this guy's not a novice because he once competed in a tournament in Latvia 4 years ago where it was a professional competition, and because there was only 5 in it and he finished 3rd, he must be a professional, So it creates its own set of problems. The other one being that you have the guy that's going to be the eternal novice and he just goes there and wins. Personally, if that guy's at a certain level, though, I don't actually have an issue with that. If somebody's never going to be the world champion, but they're at a decent novice level, it's almost like it's a gatekeeper of, okay, once you smack in that guy about, then you progress up, So how we dealt with that was you had to win the British Novice. Once you'd won it, you then had to move into then you progress, and that's how that system works in the UK.
That's the thing. I remember playing tennis as a kid, and I love the fact that I can still, to this day, travel back to Richmond Tennis Centre where I grew up as a kid. I could take Bradley into the back room and say, look, there's Dad's name as the Division 5 champion, Division 4 champion, 3, 2, 1, and then overall club champion. You can see the progression of my childhood becoming the club champion. If you have enough members in an arm wrestling club and you have an honour board and you have it functioning like a club really does in every other sport, I feel like you have that true progression. And the thing is, the sport is a volunteer sport as well at the grassroots level. Every guy that contacts me through the Brisbane Armwrestling Facebook page, the first question they ask me is, how much does it cost to become a member? And I say, it's free. Just turn up and come along. And they're always like, what do you mean it's free? This is a sport, isn't it? So I feel like once you have enough members in the club, you should be able to turn it on as a financial proposition, and not for profit, just for reinvestment into making the sport even better.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, you've shocked me on 2 counts there. Firstly, the fact that when people come to the Brisbane club, their first question is, how much does it cost? Because for me, it would have been, what time does Danny Tesh arrive? And how much is it for a picture? That's just me.
He's hard to find. Danny is hard to find. It's hard. I can't even get a picture with him. I've tried that many times to get that man on camera, and no. That's one of my most common questions is, why don't you make a video with Danny? And I'm like, well, shit, you should try.
Well, the mystique die of it, wouldn't it? It's like, that crying statue, wherever it is, you go to the weeping Madonna. I mean, it weeps. Not necessarily going to weep when you're there. You know what I mean? But all you got to know is, Danny Tesh, that's where he goes. He's there somewhere. Whether he shows up or not sure. But the upside of that is that if you happen to break your arm, it can full on heal it there when you're an hour, you're back on. That doesn't happen at a lot of clubs. Brisbane heavy hitters, get your ass over there, Tesh. So, talking of that, one thing I loved, right, when Danny got into it in the World Armwrestling League was that the entire of Australia came out with that sort of sarcastic, you don't know what you're dealing with. You know, that like Danny's going to go over and it's off the entire of America. That I don't know whether you picked up on that fact, but you know, particularly you and Jordan Davis, just after he popped a bit of crack, whatever he's on, Jordan on his wobbly eggs, getting on Facebook and just telling everybody that Danny's going to decimate everybody in the middleweight division, and there was like this mass revulsion around America. Like, who the is this guy?
I remember it well. The North American reaction to the level of confidence Australia had in Danny Tesh was hilarious to me. It was but the thing, I don't know, Danny is a unique puller. I still haven't seen him lose a match that stops against anyone ever. Like that's legit. It doesn't. I know that there's you can scrounge up footage, and Joel Hudik's going to be the first one to say, "Hang on a second." But the thing that Danny he's an abnormal strength when it comes to slow pulling, and at the middleweight division, I think he can slow pull with anyone on earth. Like legit, I do think that he can be flashed. He can be flashed, but I don't know if there's a better middleweight out there in a hook. I believe that, and all of Australia has seen that. We'd seen that, and Rob Vigent liked to get on there and say, yeah, but he's only doing it against other Aussies. And we're like, well, you just wait and see. And I respect Quinlan Mendez, a great arm wrestler, very capable everywhere. But I knew that if that went into a hook, Quinlan was gonna. I've tried to do it. I've occasionally, like Danny leads 11-0 on me, and occasionally I've thought, shit, I'm gonna just go into a hook. He's not gonna expect it. I'm going to belt this man into a hook. I'm going to be so fast. Just going to go through him in a hook. I go into a hook, and I immediately regret my the decision. I can just feel this. He feels like a ratchet. It goes, brrr, and then you can't move. And any movement you take backwards, it's click, 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 shit, click, click, click. You just can't go that way again. And I knew that if Quinlan went inside with him, he was going to feel that same way. And he did. There was that one round where he went in, and I was just laughing, knowing what that position feels like. And sure enough, when Danny decided to pin him in that position, he thumped him to the pad. And that is what what characterizes his strength best is his inside lock. You saw him practice pull with Devon. Yes, it's a practice pull, but Devon couldn't break Danny's lock inside. So
that is. I mean, you know what? We want to talk about this a great deal more, but not in this part, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, share, and come back for part 2. It's coming very soon. This guy's going to stick around. You are going to stick around, aren't you, dude?
Yeah, mate.
Have it.